Alright YouTube, it's time for occult literature video number 23 on probably the most infamous work that I've edited other than the Grand Grimoire, which is the Black Pullet, a work of talismanic art from the mid-1800s. Very interesting work as well. One of the good works that I released early on, realized its potential, realized nobody else was offering it cheap enough for, the average impoverished individual like myself at the time, so, there's a little bit of sympathy there. Link in the description to where you can purchase the work, my edition on Amazon, second link as well, to my books blog where you can find many other, you can find occult text grimoires, you can find philosophical work, things on alchemy, things that I've written, things that I've edited. It's all there, and it's an ever-increasing catalog of work. The Black Pullet is interesting primarily because, unlike most works of similar manufacture, about half of the work actually tells a story. That is, it's literally, you can look at it as fiction or nonfiction, that doesn't particularly matter. It tells the story of a French soldier who's being chased, I guess, by Mohammedans, by Arabs, and a wise Turkish mage hides him in sort of a crypt in the pyramids and teaches him. He realizes he's virtuous. He tends to his wounds, and they grow to have sort of a platonic love, like a father-son love with each other. And the old mage, before passing away, teaches him the art of certain talismans, by which he becomes quite rich. And then, of course, retires to his European estate. He's rich now. He hides the original manuscript and everything, some of this treasure, along with these talismans. So the core of the actual occult content of the text, beyond the story itself, which is partially cautionary in form, basically be a good person, be holy, chaste, whatever. The core of the work revolves around creating these magical talismans that can secure certain capabilities for you. It's sort of like the use of seals in summoning demons, except that these are physical talismans. It's not just a mark you're putting on a layman or something like that. It's an actual metallic amulet of sorts that you wear, and through this certain powers become possible. Things like being able to see, wild visions, invisibility, obtaining wealth, and the whole 9 yards. Other than the fact that it works with talismans as opposed to invocations or folk rites of some sort, the wolf skull and bat's blood sort of stuff you'd find in the Little Albert or something. Other than that, the main goal of the work is essentially the same as many other similar manuscripts. What's different about the Black Pullet really is the methodology behind it. Because in most of these other works, if they mention talismans at all, they're secondary. They're just one of many facets of work. Like, again, the Little Albert, you can certainly make talismans, make certain charms and amulets within the core of that text as well. But it's just one section. Most of it's herbal stuff, how to scare off a rabid dog, how to deal with wolves, how to make your cabbages grow. With the Black Pullet, it's all talismanic arts, paired with this relatively interesting story of the Turkish mage. Now, we may see this as a piece of French literature from the period. That part's undoubtedly true. That's undoubtedly the case. We may see it as sort of an adventure story wrapped up in the long tradition of the French cycle, which is essentially the French sort of region of the world is most notorious above all others for its creation of strange Enlightenment era occult texts, even back in the Renaissance. Sort of moves from the Latin world, from Italy and so forth. It moves up into France and it stays there, and it's still basically, now it's the English-speaking world that produces most of this literature because it's the lingua franca. Back then, it's quite literal. It's France and the surrounding areas. This is really the core of where all of these pieces of literature are made. Like, you find a dozen French works, you'll find 2 or 3 in the same period of time from other parts of the world. It's really quite astounding how many there were. This led to the belief, if the philosophical Merlin and similar claims are true, that Napoleon himself was a mage of sorts. That his successes in battle were informed by his use of dark magic, or at least astrology, that his troops were aided by magic. This is how they performed so many miraculous victories over all these other militaries. They were going around into these sort of ruined areas, finding the Rosetta Stone. That was a French expedition. It got taken there from when the French lost, but it was found by French, what we could term early archaeologists, or tomb raiders as we might call them today. And the Black Pullet is kind of a recounting of all of this material. It's very, very interesting, even if you don't believe at all in any aspect of the occult. For the story alone that it tells about this era, about this mage meeting the young wounded soldier who needs help and gets pulled into the pyramid and healed through the miraculous arts of these talismans. It's still very interesting. So again, link in the description where you can buy this text, my edition of this text on Amazon, second to my books blog with other material available. That's about all. Peace out.